Welcome to Medicare 360 Show. I'm your host, Jennifer Lee, with Premier 360. Let's begin on page 79 on Section 6, Medicare Drug Coverage Part D. How does Medicare drug coverage work? Medicare Drug Coverage Part D helps pay for your prescription drugs. It's optional and offered to everyone with Medicare. Even if you don't take prescription drugs now, consider getting Medicare drug coverage. If you decide not to, when you're first eligible, you don't have other credible prescription drug coverage, like drug coverage from an employer or union, or get extra help, you'll likely pay a late enrollment penalty if you join a plan later. Generally, you'll pay this penalty for as long as you have Medicare drug coverage. Pages 83 to 85. To get Medicare drug coverage, you must join a Medicare-approved plan that offers drug coverage. Each plan can vary in costs and specific drugs covered. Visit medicare.gov/plan-compare to find and compare plans in your area. You could also call your state health assistance program, SHIP, for help comparing plans. Go to pages 114 to 117 for the phone number of your local SHIP, or visit shiphelp.org. There are two ways to get Medicare drug coverage Part B. Medicare drug plans. These plans add Medicare drug coverage Part D to original Medicare. Some Medicare cost plans, some Medicare Advantage private fee-for-service plans, and medical savings account MSA plans. You must have Part A and or B to join a separate Medicare drug plan. Medicare Advantage plans or other Medicare health plans with drug coverage. You get your Part A, Part B, and Medicare drug coverage Part D through those plans. Remember, you must have Part A and B to join a Medicare Advantage plan, and not all Medicare Advantage plans offer drug coverage. In either case, you must live in the service area of the plan you want to join and be lawfully present in the U.S. Medicare drug plans and Medicare health plans with drug coverage are called Medicare drug coverage in this handbook. Okay, important. If you have employer or union coverage, call your benefits administrator before you make any changes or sign up for any other coverage. If you sign up for other coverage, you could lose your employer or union health and drug coverage for you and your dependents. If this happens, you may not be able to get your employer or union coverage back. You want to know how Medicare drug coverage Part D works with other drug coverage, go to pages 88 to 90. So it's a big deal if you do have an employer or union coverage. Definitely contact the benefits administrator, just because there are times when if you ever get off their plan, you can never go on. Sometimes you can. Sometimes you could just suspend, from what I hear as well. And sometimes a client doesn't know that they have an employer union coverage. And so they'll get another plan, double insures, double coverage, but a lot of the doctors or medical office or hospitals don't know who to bill or get confused, and it's just a whole mess. So it's better to just make sure that you know what plan you're on and not have that double coverage, because it does mess up the claims process. When can I join, switch, or drop a plan? You could join, switch, or drop a Medicare drug plan or a Medicare Advantage plan with drug coverage during these times. Okay, so your initial enrollment period, and when you first become eligible for Medicare, you can join a plan. Go to page 17. Open enrollment period from October 15th to December 7th each year. You could join, switch, or drop a plan. Your coverage will begin on January 1st as long as the plan gets your request by December 7th. Go to page 71. Medicare Advantage open enrollment period only if you're already in a Medicare Advantage plan. From January 1st to March 31st each year, you could switch to a different Medicare Advantage plan or switch to original Medicare and join a Medicare drug plan once during this time. Go to page 72. If you have to go for Part A and you sign up for Part B during the general enrollment period, January 1st to March 31st, you could also join a Medicare drug plan when you sign up for Part B. You have 2 months after signing up for Part B to join a drug plan. Your drug coverage will start the month after the plan gets you a request to join. Okay, so summarize, you could join, switch, drop a plan on initial enrollment period when you first become eligible for Medicare. Open enrollment period from October 15th to December 7th for a Jan 1 effective date. And then from January 1st to March 31st, you could switch to different Medicare Advantage plan or switch to original Medicare. Special enrollment periods. Generally, you must stay in your plan for the entire year, but when certain events happen in your life, like if you move or lose other insurance coverage, you may qualify for a special enrollment period. You may be able to make changes to your plan mid-year if you qualify. Okay. Check with your plan for more information. So sometimes, guys, like I call the insurance companies. I know exactly if I could drop a plan, cancel a plan, and sometimes the person on the other end is too new. They're following a protocol and they don't quite understand. So know your rights, know what's going on, because sometimes you do have to advocate for yourself. I had an example where I just met a client 2 days ago, and her effective date was, let's just say, August 1st, and she was enrolled by someone over the phone. And by going over her specific situation, there was actually a better plan for her. So she wanted that new plan, and because it wasn't effective yet, she could technically cancel that plan and get on a different plan if she wanted to. So we had called the insurance company, and I get sometimes they don't want to talk to the third person or with an authorization. So lady was already getting confused on that. Took her a long time to come back on the phone to say, you don't have a special enrollment period to cancel your plan. And so I've been around the block. I know you could cancel your plan before your effective date and sometimes even after. Just depends on the certain situation. So I had to fight for my client to say she can. And so again, we were put on hold for a very long time. And she finally said yes, but she's a little bit flustered, wanted to speak to the client. And so she did cancel the client's plan. Says it would take a 10-day confirmation. But in any case, right, like I've just noticed that sometimes, and my clients tell me, depending on the insurance company, or just not even depending on the insurance company, depending on the person you talk to on the other end of the insurance company, sometimes they're so new, not well trained, or just don't know because it may be a complicated issue that you need to fight for your rights or advocate, right? With us at Premier, we definitely fight and become your advocate for those that, you know what, you don't do Medicare, you don't do health insurance, you're not an agent, to know the ins and outs of it. And that's the biggest thing, right? Having someone backing you up or besides you to really figure out, what can be escalated, what could be done, what could be figured out if you have that issue. And that's the biggest thing, right? When your back is against the wall because of some type of health scare, you want things to move as fast as possible. Sometimes, client may get brain fog because of all the pressure and stress of that illness, and they need that extra set of eyes to guide them and help them know how to overcome that, to get the level of care they need, to get the care they need, to expedite things. And that's what we do for our clients. It's not all insurance companies or medical groups, but just more and more I've just been seeing is advocating for yourself, or if not, definitely give us a call. And we definitely, not that we love issues or situations, but we have the capability and the understanding how these plans work to help guide people in the right direction to get them going and getting what they need. So keep that in mind. Okay, that was on a tangent there. Um, let's see. So special enrollment periods, generally you must stay in your plan for the entire year, but when certain events happen in your life, like if you move or lose other health insurance coverage, you may qualify for a special enrollment period. You may be able to make changes to your plan mid-year. If you qualify, check with your plan for more information. So sometimes there are special enrollment periods like FEMA. So that's a classic example. So if there's some like natural disasters in your state and your county, such as like floods, fires, earthquakes, tornadoes, you name it, and the state or the county may announce that. And if you didn't make a change during that time because of that, you could make some changes. Okay. So if you do sign up for Part A or B during special enrollment period because of an exceptional circumstance, page 18, you'll have 2 months to join a Medicare Advantage plan with or without drug coverage or a Medicare plan. Your coverage will start the first day of the month after the plan gets your request to join. So keep in mind too that most Medicare Advantage plans do have a drug plan, but there are some few that don't have a drug plan, be it maybe because it's a plan that you have your drug coverage elsewhere, which most of the time would be if you're a VA or have TRICARE or CHAMP VA, things of that nature that you do have credible drug coverage somewhere else. So you don't need that particular drug coverage, right? And your drug coverage is not syncing or doesn't complement each other. That's why you don't get a plan without a drug plan. But most of the time, you probably need a drug plan. I've had it where clients, I don't need a drug plan because I don't have any prescription drugs. But remember, you will be penalized if you don't have a drug plan. You'll be penalized 1% for every single year that you didn't have. Sorry. You will be penalized 1% for every single month that you did not have a drug plan and was supposed to have one, that you don't have credible coverage. So visit Medicare.gov or check your plan for more information. You could also check your health insurance assistance program SHIP for help. Go to pages 114 and 117 for the phone number of your local SHIP. Okay, how do I switch plans? You could switch Medicare drug coverage simply by joining another plan during one of the times listed on page 80. Your old drug coverage will end when your new drug coverage begins. You should get a letter from your new plan telling you when your coverage begins, so you don't need to cancel your old plan. You could also switch plans by calling 1-800-Medicare. So that's a pretty neat thing about it. From going to a Medicare Advantage plan to another Medicare Advantage plan or a drug plan to another drug plan, um, you don't have to cancel your old plan because it automatically replaces it, which is pretty nice. Because like a Medicare supplement plan, if you were to change one, you do have to cancel your previous plan. If you don't, you'll be double paying. So just keep that in mind. That's a pretty neat feature that most policies don't have. How do I drop my plan? If you want to drop your plan and don't want to join a plan, you could only do so during certain times. You could disenroll by calling Medicare. You will also send a letter to the plan telling them you want to disenroll. If you drop your plan and want to join another Medicare drug plan or Medicare health plan with drug coverage later, you have to wait for an enrollment period. You may also have to pay a late enrollment fee if you don't have credible coverage, prescription drug coverage. Go to pages 83 to 85. Read the information you get from your plan, review the evidence of coverage, and annual notice of change your plan sends you each year. The evidence of coverage gives you the details about what the plan covers, how much you pay, and more. The annual notice of change includes any changes in coverage, cost, provider, network, service area, and more that will be effective in January. If you don't get these important documents in early fall, contact your plan. So the biggest thing with the drug plans is that the formulary, the deductible, the copays, the coinsurance may change, okay, every single year. So it's best to just really review your current drugs for the following year just to make sure you have the best cost benefits on your plan, that your drugs are covered. Things are moving in a rapid pace. It's a lot of market disruption. We've talked about the $2,000 cap on your max of your prescription drugs that are covered. So that had a lot of disruption this year, and definitely will still have more changes next year on that. How much do I pay? Your drugs will vary based on the plan you choose. Remember, plan coverage and cost can change every year. You may have to pay a premium, deductible, copayments, or coinsurance throughout the year. Learn more about these costs on the next page. So your out-of-pocket drug costs are capped at $2,000. I already said that in 2025. Your actual drug coverage will vary depend on your prescriptions and whether they're on your plan's list of covered drugs. Formulary, go to page 85. What tier a drug is in, go to page 85. Which drug benefit phase you're in, like whatever you met at your deductible or out-of-pocket limit, go to page 83. Which pharmacy you use, whether it's preferred or standard cost sharing, is out of network or is a mail order. Your out-of-pocket drug cost may be less at preferred pharmacy because it has agreed with your plan to charge less. Whether you get extra help paying your Medicare drug costs, go to page 92. Okay, so let me talk about that a little more. Tiers. So if you're not familiar with tiers, they're like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, 4, 5, 6 specialty drugs. So typically, like tier 1 would be your preferred generics. They're the cheapest. Mainly, they may be at zero cost or very little, depending if you go to a preferred or non-preferred pharmacy or mail order. There's tier 2s, which are your preferred generics. Your tier 3, that's brand. So I would say the biggest thing that I've been noticing on tier 3 drugs is that they have been charging a deductible, and also instead of a copay, it's a coinsurance, so it's a percentage of that drug cost. So imagine if that drug costs $1,000, 25% out of your pocket is $250, and I'm not talking about the $590 deductible. So some seniors are definitely concerned about that. Shocking. I've had seniors where they love their plan, and I've explained it to them during annual enrollment period, but maybe they didn't quite understand, or they were just set on their plan. But then as they go into the year, they're just like, oh my gosh, it's just getting so much expensive. Sometimes getting a 90 or 100-day supply will have some cost savings for you as well. But of course, some drugs you can't do that. And then mail order, that definitely helps as well with the cost. And then extra help. If you do have extra help, which is like a low income subsidy, you can apply for it based on your income and your assets. If you do qualify, drugs may cost less. Instead of maybe $45, it costs $10. So just giving you an example there. Of course, there are patient assistant programs, manufacturer discounts, or foundations. Definitely, if you have some interest in that or actually want to save on drug costs, we could definitely help you with that too. So cost and coverage, we're on page 82. Some ways you may be able to lower the cost of your drugs include choosing generics over brand name prescriptions or biosimilars over biological products. You may also pay for a drug without insurance, like using pharmacy savings programs or manufacturer discounts. Ask your pharmacist. They could tell you if there's a less expensive option available. Check with your doctor to make sure the generic or biosimilar option is best for you. So really, try the generics. Of course, sometimes there are times that the generics really don't work for you and you have to get a brand name drug. And if that's the case, and that drug is not covered, you could definitely get an exception, have your doctor submit approval that you need the drug and the generic doesn't work. So that's the best way to see if we could escalate and get that covered. And then monthly premium, most drugs cost a monthly fee that varies by plan. If you have Part B, you pay this addition to the Part B premium. If you're in Medicare Advantage plan or Medicare cost plan with drug coverage, the monthly premium may include an amount for drug coverage. contact your plan, not Social Security or Railroad Retirement Board, if you want your drug premium deducted from your monthly Social Security or Railroad Retirement Board. If you want to stop premium deductions and get billed directly, contact your plan. So now all plans are created equal, meaning the premiums could range from $2 to $100 or even more. Um, your costs on your generics, your preferred, your brand name, your tier specialty drugs, and the deductible might not be the same. So as an urge, you always review your drugs every single year just to make sure that you're on the right plan on that. The nice thing is you can deduct it from your Social Security. If you don't have Social Security, they will definitely bill you. Sometimes if you have like a $2 plan, it's just easier to pay it for the whole year and get it done and over with so you don't have to worry about it. So important, if you do have a higher income, you may pay more for your Medicare drug coverage Part D. If your income is above a certain limit in 2025, $106,000 if you file individually or $212,000 if you're married and file jointly, you'll pay an extra amount in addition to your plan premium, sometimes called Part D IRMA. You'll have to pay this extra amount if you're in Medicare Advantage plan that includes drug coverage. This doesn't affect everyone, so people won't pay an extra amount. So yes, keep in mind, besides the Part B IRMA, there is a Part D IRMA. So depending on how much you're making, your adjusted gross income 2 years prior. So for 2025, it'd be 2023 adjusted gross income. You may have to pay a surcharge or extra for your Part D premium. Did have a client, he just did not want to pay. He wasn't taking drugs, or he used one of those discount cards, right? Like GoodRx, or can't quite remember the other one, Mark Cuban's company, but he just refused, right? And he knows it's 1% for every single month that he doesn't have drug coverage, but he was willing to just not pay that just because it just costs too much. So of course we would discuss your specific situation. Usually Medicare or RRB will deduct the extra amount from your Social Security or the Railroad Retirement payment. Medicare or the Railroad Retirement bills you for extra amount instead of deducting it from Social Security or RRB payment, then you must pay the extra amount to Medicare or the RRB, not your plan. If you don't pay the extra amount, you could lose your Medicare drug coverage Part D. You may not be able to join another plan right away, and you may have to pay a late enrollment penalty for as long as you have drug coverage. You'll pay Part D IRMA payments separately, even if your employer or another third party like a retirement system pays your plan premiums. If you have to pay the Part D IRMA and you disagree, for example, you have one more life-changing event that lowers your income. Visit ssa.gov/Medicare/lower-IRMA. So yearly deductible, this is the amount you must pay before your plan begins to pay its share of your drug costs. Some plans don't have a deductible, and some plans that do have a deductible, drugs on some tiers are covered before the deductible. So that's good to know. So I do want to stop there. We stopped at page 82. There's just a lot on drugs, a lot of market disruption there. The biggest thing is just reviewing your plan yearly just to make sure you're on the right plan. And so if you have any questions, feel free to give us a call. I'm Jennifer Lee, your host of Medicare 360, sponsored by Premier 360. Looking forward to seeing you next time. You have a wonderful day.